Hi, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight in Business. I'm your host, Tammy Defoe, founder, CEO, business coach, and public speaking instructor for GTApreneurs. I'm so happy to introduce to you today Jackie Maclean. She's an amazing clinical hypnotherapist out in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm so happy to have you on the show today. Welcome, Jackie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Tammy. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
You're very welcome. It is such an amazing honor. And I've gotten to know you a little bit over the past few months, and I'm just so impressed with what you do. And I'm really excited to bring it to more people out there because there is a high need for what you offer and you do such a great job at it. So can you tell us more about yourself?
Yes, absolutely, Tammy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I live in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. And I've been working as a hypnotherapist professionally for 16 years, helping people all over the world via Zoom. And I help them overcome their anxiety and their addictions. I feel so grateful. I get to wake up every day energized because I know that the work I do makes a difference in people's lives. And I'm happy to be here today to let more people know about what I do. I'm really excited to share this information. Thank you, Tammy.
You're very welcome. So let's learn more. What exactly is hypnotherapy?
So hypnotherapy is all about simply harnessing the power of your mind to make change. And as I mentioned earlier, these shifts, these changes can happen, and they can happen very quickly. An example is a large majority of my clients, over 90%, they quit their addictions within 1 or 2 sessions. And then the other sessions are all about repetition and reinforcement. So what hypnosis really does is it empowers us to use that part of us, that aspect of us, what I like to call our internal guidance, our inner wisdom, to change and let whatever doesn't serve us at our best interest to let go, to let it go for good once and for all. And it's not just about stopping the habit. Is that important? Yes, absolutely. More importantly, Tammy, it's the ripple effect. So in my experience over these many years, over these past 16 years, I've taken high-powered executives from chaos to clarity. They're able to set boundaries. They have peace of mind. They have more joy in their life. And it's an opportunity for them now to live life to the fullest.
That's amazing. Especially in the short amount of time you can help people. So you mentioned executives a lot. Can you tell us a little more specifically about the different types of people that you help?
Yeah. So my focus is helping high achievers, successful business owners, entrepreneurs, executives. They are in these high stress environments. And as a result, their coping mechanism is they also quietly struggle with the drug and alcohol addiction. And I've seen, Tammy, these people are overworked, under a lot of stress. And like I said, their coping mechanism, they find themselves indulging in destructive behaviors, drinking too much alcohol, cocaine, binging on food, even gambling. And as our audience will appreciate, we live in difficult times. It's a stress-filled environment, busy and yet not necessarily productive. And everywhere we look, business owners, entrepreneurs, they're overly stressed, they're anxious, not sure what's going to happen the next day. And here is how undue stress expresses itself. As a result of undue stress, lack of concentration. They can't focus on the task at hand. They're tired, they're exhausted. And remember, we've got to remember these are intelligent, driven individuals. And all they require is my help to take them over the hump, so to speak. Because if it's not addressed on time, it can lead to destructive habits. Drinking too much alcohol, indulging in drugs, gambling, binging on food, excessive shopping. The list goes on. And before we know it, we have gone down slippery slope. And in my experience, I've noticed and realized that these business owners, they have nowhere to go. They don't know where to seek help. They're afraid to be seen at AAs, NAs, rehab. Why? Because there's so much shame surrounding this topic, as we can appreciate. And they have a lot to lose. Their business, their spouse, their children, their home, and eventually their life. So my methodology that I've been using for 16 years helps them make these changes very quickly so that they can go back to doing what they do best, being the leader that they are.
Yeah, and I was really surprised that you mentioned to me that, a lot of executives in high positions and business owners have these sorts of issues, right? I mean, I guess they're not, specific to anybody, but you just think if someone's really successful, then, how can they be most successful and have these different things going on in the background, right?
And the challenge is their closet. And because of that, you can't even tell. These are high functioning people and they can go on for hours and hours, drinking, doing the cocaine and continuing with work. But there comes a point when, one day the car will stop, one day the engine will stop.
Yeah, and I can see them being a really catch-22, right? If they go to AA and these different things for help, then yes, it may help them, but then, they don't want to be seen by other people.
Yeah.
Right. And that, but then if they don't go to some sort of help, then they're still in the same situation.
Yeah.
Right.
And it only gets worse.
And so what brought you to be a hypnotherapist?
Well, I have a very vested interest in this, Tammy. I grew up in India in a very abusive environment. Alcoholism was rampant in my family. My father, my brother. In fact, my brother followed in my father's footsteps, and he died when he was only 36. So this experience, in these formative years, has affected me greatly. It's motivated me to learn how to help others to overcome addictions so that they can really truly live a happy life. So I feel very grateful that I now have the opportunity to help my clients rewire their brain for success. So that was my growing up experience. And then, the last straw for me, Tammy, was when about 19 years ago, my husband, my ex now, he left me for a beautiful Russian woman half my age. That was devastating. It was devastating for me. It was devastating for the children. I couldn't understand why this was happening. And that's when I started searching. That's when I found hypnosis. And hypnosis has truly and completely changed my life. Yeah. And now I feel grateful that I have the opportunity to help others change their lives, transform their lives, so that they can live the life of their dreams, be truly happy. That's really what we are seeking. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really great that, it's not good that you went through those experiences, but that can only make you a better therapist, right? When you've actually lived these sorts of experiences that other people, are having, whether it be from the receiving end or no, the giving end, and you're a lot in the receiving end, but you did the healing, right? And you saw what these other people had to do to help overcome their bad situations, right? So I think that's great. Can you tell us some specific examples of clients you've helped?
I love to tell you a story of how I helped a client recently. This was last year when COVID hit. I had spoken at a Rotary Club, and Rotary, as you know, is a service organization. And I had the honor to speak there and present there. And one of the members emailed me after the presentation. He's a lawyer, highly respected in his field. And his first question by email to me was, is this going to be confidential? When I reassured him, we got on the phone. He confided that he was struggling with alcohol. And it wasn't just the drinking. He was taking out his anger. He was taking out his frustration on his 2 young kids and his wife. So the combination of being cooped up in the house, the frustration, the anger, drinking too much. And when we started working, he was my ideal client, Tammy. We got on a conversation. It was all of a 6 or 7 minute conversation. He booked my 30-day program. He e-transferred me the money. He quit his drinking habit in the first session, and he stopped biting his nails in that first session. And he called it a miracle. So that was really funny. The word miracle coming out of a lawyer's mouth.
Wow. Yeah, well, because they're used to being in control, right?
Totally.
They know what's going on, right? They're the boss and stuff like that. So the fact he's able to open up to you like that, to get that kind of result.
Yes.
Is that typical? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that, I deal with, right, are type A personalities, right? So they're that, go be in charge type of person. So, how is that it? How do people who have that type of personality, usually do with your service?
I missed what you said the last bit, Tammy.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, just the thinking that, because a lot of entrepreneurs and, like high level executives, they have a type A personality, right? Right. So then, a lot of them, like, they want to be in control, right? I can see how they would be kind of hesitant to this. So what's your advice for those people?
Well, most people don't realize that hypnotherapy is about the client being in full control. And the reason they know that they are in full control is they are aware of everything that's going on during the sessions. In fact, the sessions are interactive. So it's not like it's a one-way street, one-way conversation. It's a two-way conversation. They are aware of everything that's going on. So they're in full control of the situation of the session.
Now, what about self-hypnosis? You've mentioned to me that before. How does that work?
So self-hypnosis is similar to hypnotherapy, except you are practicing hypnosis yourself. That's why it's called self-hypnosis. And this is one of the things I teach my clients how to do. And all it is engaging, using all of the 5 senses, and as you focus on your goal. So it's a step-by-step process, taking yourself down. And I teach my clients how to do that, from a place of buzzing and being in this stressful environment. I teach them simple techniques. Now their physical body and their mind is getting relaxed step by step. And in about 5 minutes or so, now they are now in that space of calm and relaxation. Now, at this point, they engage all of their 5 senses, having and assuming and seeing that they have achieved their goal. So an example is if they want a promotion, they would imagine seeing themselves going for an interview. They would hear the person saying, "Congratulations, you've got the job." And the most important is, how am I feeling in my body when that situation is? So that is self-hypnosis, and you can use the same techniques for any goal that you want to achieve, which is if you want to lose weight, if you want to be in a loving relationship. So in an example of weight loss, for example, as you do practice your self-hypnosis, you can imagine yourself being on the scale, and the scale reads your ideal weight. You can imagine going out with friends and shopping for clothes 2 or 3 sizes smaller, and having that conversation excited with your girlfriends, talking about, oh my gosh, you're looking so good because, you know, you're looking so trim and slim. And again, how the emotions is the most important thing. How do I feel in my body when I imagine myself at this ideal shape and size? And this is a universal law, because the key to this, Tammy, is to be consistent with doing this practice, because the more we do it, the faster we will achieve it. And the reason this is so effective is because our subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is truly happening and what we vividly imagine. It doesn't know the difference. That's why you may have seen or heard that in professional sports, Michael Jordan takes the basket, puts it in the basketball, puts it in the hoop, doing it in their mind. The hockey players are taking the puck, putting it in the net in their mind. In fact, Tiger Woods, he used the power of self-hypnosis. He was taught these techniques when he was a teenager by his father. And he has used the power of self-hypnosis to visualize every swing, every stroke in his mind before executing it on the field, right? So what we are really doing is we quieten our mind, we let go of these minor frustrations, and then we are super focused on our goal in our mind, right? So like I said, self-hypnosis can be used to affect any change in your life in any aspect. And it's wonderful for business owners, because now you can do a big part of your goal setting using self-hypnosis. Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah, I can understand how that works. It's you've heard of many athletes who do use that, right? Who have pictured themselves on the winning, spot and things like that, right? And so, but I've never heard of this sort of approach, with people who have addictions. Like I did know of a person before, and he went through several rehab programs, and he came out and he went back to drinking like the next day. So, I wasn't really aware of how you offer like that. It helps people. Like, it seems like it would be so different of different types of goals, right?
Yeah. So that was self-hypnosis that I explained. So I see so much success with addictions because I get to the root of where these things originate. So my focus is not so much on, oh, you're drinking so much alcohol, or you're doing this. It's more a question of, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you have that need at 5 o'clock in the evening to go around the corner and buy that bottle? There's a compulsion. Why do you have that compulsion? That's the root cause. The compulsion started way back when. And for many of us, it's in childhood. What we saw, what we heard, what we experienced growing up. And drinking or smoking or doing these drugs or gambling is just taking myself away from the stress that was bothering me as a child. So once I get to the root, it's almost like when the first domino falls, all the dominoes fall. Once I get to the root, it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I was doing this for so long. And I don't have the need. In fact, Tammy, I think about 3 years ago, I worked with two women in Australia, and both of them had a drinking problem. And I remember both of them saying, one was she was a psychotherapist, and she had so much of a guilt because she was drinking and helping her clients as well. So there was this added guilt and shame in that situation. And both of them mentioned that when I worked with them, I never spoke about alcohol. I never spoke about alcohol because there was no need to. Instead, what I did was get to the root. And both of them had a lot of challenges in their childhood. And some people have challenges is abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and for some people it's sexual abuse. So, alcohol is just numbing that pain, that memory. It's like, oh gosh, I can't deal with my boss. I can't deal with my spouse, because all of these things are coming back to the forefront, these triggers. Let me go home. Let me have a drink. That becomes a bottle. And then part of that is habit as well. Right? But once I get to the root, it's like a big, huge aha. It's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I was doing this for so long. And some people don't even have cravings. That's the beauty of this work.
That's what I always thought, right?
Simultaneously, Tammy, I teach them simple techniques because, if there is a craving or if there's a trigger or if there's a memory, what do you do? And when I work with clients, in my 30-day program or my 3-month program, I also tell them that if there is, that's part of the special work that I do. It's not just about the intensive sessions that we have. I say to them, because when clients come to me and have a session, they feel great. But triggers happen, life happens. And then I don't want them to go plummeting down. Otherwise, it becomes a case of 5 steps forward and 7 steps back. Don't want them to happen. So I tell them, just pick up the phone and call me or text me. I will get back to you as soon as possible so I can bring your anxiety down in less than 10 minutes. Otherwise, like I said, 5 steps forward, 7 steps back.
That's
it's
very
like
impressive
this friend of yours, right, who had those triggers, he went back to it because there's no support, there's no help.
Yeah, so that is, it's amazing how quickly you can help people, right?
Yeah.
And, I imagine that you don't want them to be coming to see you for 10 minutes for years at a time, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did your programs work? Is this something that they're going to keep doing forever? They need to keep coming back to you?
Well, so in my experience, like this lawyer, for example, he opted for the 30-day program. We have scheduled sessions. He's doing great. Off he goes to live his life, right? And I do have a client who comes to see me every so often. So about in 2018, he had come to me several years earlier and he was struggling with drinking and binging on food and cigarettes and all of those things. And he's a business owner. He's the one who'd given me an amazing testimonial. His name is Nick. And in 2018, he and he lives on the island. So he has to take a ferry to come to Vancouver to see me. Like the ferry ride is about 2.5 hours. But he chooses to do that. And he had said to me, he said, and he paid me in advance. He said, I want to come and see you every month, once a month. So that was his choice because he was very busy in his business and all of that. And then in 2019, because he was doing so well, he wanted to continue, but he said to me, instead of every month, because I'm doing well, I'll come to you every 2 months. And that's what he did. So some people choose to, it's like a picker-upper every 6 months or 1 year. But most people, if they use the tools, they don't need to. Right? If you're mentally and emotionally strong, using the techniques I teach, you don't have to. Because it's a thing of the past. It's a thing of the past, right? So this work is fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have the testimonial with me that Nick gave you, right? So if you don't mind, I wanted to read that out to the viewers here today.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So Jackie has rescued me from a life of anxiety, fueled with self-destruction, junk food, alcohol, cigarettes, and given me back my world as a far better husband, father, business owner, and boss. I don't know how or why hypnosis works, and I don't care. The fact is, I've never lived before with so much calm and purpose. I'll be happy to share my experience with anyone who's thinking of working with Jackie. Just ask her to put you in touch with me. Wow, that is very powerful.
Yeah. Yes, and I love that Nick and I are still in touch. One of the things that I was really touched with is on the 1st of Jan this year, he sent me a text message, and he has a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. He lost his dad several years ago, a beautiful relationship with his mom, very close to his family. And he remembered me on the 1st of Jan and sent me a text. And what that told me was he appreciates that hypnosis, that this work has changed his life. And that was just a text of gratitude for a happy life that he can continue living now. So I was very touched with that, right? And what I love about hypnosis, Tammy, is it's not just letting go of the past. That's a big one, of course. But, you can use hypnotherapy or practicing self-hypnosis to help you open up to new ideas for your business, new opportunities, new possibilities. Anything is possible. So, either do hypnotherapy or practice self-hypnosis, right? It can be to improve your relationships, with your business partners, your colleagues, your work. This is for business, for business people, entrepreneurs, with your employees. Like, once you clear those blocks around communicating. Some of us don't even know how to communicate with our employees. Hypnosis is a simple tool that can help you do that. And it's such an empowering feeling, that knowing that you are in charge of your life, right? You are in full control of your life.
And that's a big problem with people with addictions, right? Usually they feel they don't have any control over their lives, right? Like the addiction's controlling them.
Yeah. And it is. It is.
Well, thanks so much for coming today, Jackie. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If anyone out there is struggling with addictions, overeating, gambling, anything like that, please reach out to Jackie. She offers a complimentary consultation, and she's more than happy to talk about your situation. Everything's completely confidential, and you can see what approach might work best for you. So you have a great night, Jackie. It has been a pleasure.
You're
welcome. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah.